I'm Dave Munday. I'm one of the professional team that works with Unite the Union in the health sector, specifically around the Community Practitioners and Health Visitors Association, but also with other professional groups that Unite represents. My background is in health visiting and in local community working in commissioning. Obviously, I wanted to thank you all for coming today. Really appreciate that you're spending this time with us. I appreciate that everything is really pressured at the moment. So coming today, you know, we're really grateful for that. And hopefully, with that, you'll get something out of today, and you'll go back into practice thinking that actually it's been really a good use of your time. Now, this is our third session so far. We're doing a bit of a country tour. We've been to Newcastle and Leeds. We're here today. We're in Derby tomorrow. God knows how we're going to do the 4-hour drive after this. I'm actually a bit scared about that, but I'm sure it'll be fine. And what we're trying to do as we go through these events is change them event by event to make sure that they're responding to what members want and delegates want. So what I would say is hopefully you've all got a bit of paper in front of you at the moment. Do scribble as we go along. If you've got any points that you want to raise, good bits, bad bits about the day, if you think it's the worst day you've ever spent somewhere, you know, we need to know, because we don't want to waste another 7 lots of practitioners' time. You know, we really want to get this right. And like I say, we've changed some of the focus and the features of the event as we've moved along already. So, you know, do spend a little bit of time today doing that. Now, at the first couple of events, I've not particularly gone around the room asking people what they want from today, because I think it's always that difficult thing that you say it, and people always say the natural things. So what I want you to do is have a little bit of a think for 20, 30 seconds in your own head. What do you actually want to get out of today? And, you know, just do that sort of internally for 15, 20 seconds. Right, I'm hoping I'm going to achieve all them, but if I don't, it's not my fault. That's great. So, and like I say, by the time we get to, I've said London before, because London was going to be our last event, because we're always a bit scared of London, because it's always the worst sort of place to go and speak about health visiting, because some of the scary things that are going on there. We've actually got Oxford now as the final event. Was it? No, East Marling in Kent. So we've actually, you know, built the agenda differently. But hopefully by Kent will have the best presentation, the best conference ever, and that'll be because of your sort of input today and your help. So, what are you going to get out? Oh, sorry. Last year we carried out regional events. We did one in this room, actually, as Hilary said. Again, another lovely day. And what we were doing at that point, we were looking at the implementation at the start and the first few months. What had sort of gone into getting to that point, and how was it going, you know, quite early days. We're now over a year since its launch. And what we did when we finished the events last year, at every event we said to people, if you enjoyed today, brilliant. Do you want us to do this again in a sort of 6 months to a year? And I think most people that said something said yes. So that's why we're here again. So it's your fault that we're here again, you know, because that's what you asked, and that's what we've done. So again, hopefully, you know, you'll see that progression over a year. I know Pauline's going to speak in a little while about that progression, and hopefully really demonstrate some of the things that have happened nationally. And then obviously we'll move into more the regional and local stuff, and hopefully get some feedback about how it's actually tangible and real to you. But I feel like that I'm really lucky in the job that I do, because I actually spend most of my working week travelling around the country and meeting people like yourselves, and actually speaking to members in the service, working day in, day out, hearing the good things and hearing the bad things. And actually, you know, it's so important that we do that and we get that message sort of spinning round and reflected. But one of the things that's been really, really positive about the Health Visitor Implementation Plan is we've got Pauline and colleagues at the Department of Health that are doing the same. And it's really good as we've been going round, because actually speaking to people, they're aware mostly of, you know, Pauline's activity, that she's there, you know, fighting for the cause of health visiting nationally. And actually we see that from officials at the Department of Health, and that has been such a huge change since a few years ago, where we absolutely didn't see that, you know, that the picture is completely different. And what's also really positive is where we've got concerns, and, you know, I sort of say to Pauline, oh, I've got this real worry about X trust, you know, they seem to be doing something that seems pretty dodgy. A lot of the time now, Pauline's saying, Yeah, we know. And actually, we're already looking at how we can make things better there. You know, we're looking at how we can support to make things better locally. So again, that is a real sort of shift change. And people that read my stuff in the community practitioner and stuff that I produce will know that I'm extremely critical about a lot of things that the coalition government is doing around the health service. But actually, in terms of health visiting, it seems to be getting things, pretty good. So what you're going to get today, hopefully, an update, hopefully a debate. I'm really hoping that you'll leave with more knowledge than you came with, even if it's a little bit. When I first wrote this, I put you'll have played a part in the implementation plan, but actually I thought, no, you're already all playing a part in the implementation plan in working in the service, but actually you'll have played even more of a part. You know, you'll have contributed that little bit more. And hopefully, well, no, this is for definite, you'll definitely know more than the majority knows. Even people in the service that profess to know lots about it, you may well know more than them. So that'll be a real positive moving forward. Now, I've said at the first event, I'm sure I'm going to get somewhere and I've written the wrong name on the place. And I'll say, shout out, hello, Torquay, and it'll be like Bristol. And well, we got it, actually, I think Garth got it right for me this time, so well done, Garth. But I've also got to say, hello, unspecified place on the internet, because obviously we're hoping that we'll have content from today on the website for other members across the country to watch. But why I've put this slide up is I want some audience participation now. So I want you to put your hand up if you came to our event last year. And you can do this at home as well. Okay, so about half. Super. Next question. Who has the absolute basic level understanding of the implementation plan? So, they know something about it. Excellent. I'm hoping that everyone will put their hands up to that one, because that is, that's a decent baseline in a way. And if we're not there, then bloody hell, what's going wrong there? Who feels they've got that basic level of understanding, but actually they've got that little bit more? And actually, yeah, I'm getting this. I'm sort of knowing what's going on. I sort of get this a little bit. I'm getting there. Put your hands up.
Hopefully you do.
Cool. So I'd say 2/3, maybe 3/4. That's good. How are you doing at home? Yeah. Right, and who has the expert level of understanding? The real sort of, actually, I've read it, I know it, I'm doing it, and I'm blooming great, me. Put your hand up. Hey. Well done, Chrissy. They're impressed. Because my comment is, well, you should be presenting, but you are, so, that's a problem. Then the next one is, who feels that their organisation understands it and sort of is getting it and is thinking, now I'm going to do this, I'm going to deliver on it, and we're going to get there. We're going to get 2015 and it's going to be right. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, I'd probably say about half again, maybe a little bit over half. And again, it's really interesting to see that comparison between the different places that we go. Newcastle, I'd say probably 95% of the room said their organisations were getting it. Leeds, I'd probably say less than 50. It wasn't as good. And so I'd say you're probably second in the league table of organisations getting it rank sort of thing. So that's great. So where are we now? What we often do at these events is we have a long list of policies that you can read, and you sort of think, oh yeah, I've heard of that one, I've heard of Torquay, heard of Graham Allen, heard of that. But one of the things that I thought it would be useful to do and do things slightly differently was look at a sort of a timeline of how we've got to the point we've got to. It might not be dead easy to look at the next couple of slides, because it's not the biggest screen today, but the slides will be sent out to you by email. We'll also have them available on our website from all the sessions across the country, because each slide pack will be slightly different. And also, a few of the slides will be updating as we go along, and this is one of them. And at the end, it'll be the most authoritative version that we've got, so you'll have that as well. And what I hope to do is sort of throw some things on there about what where we are up to now, and hopefully where we're heading by 2015. And there's a few big things on there, like the operating framework. Health visiting was mentioned in the last two operating frameworks as a top key action. That's absolutely amazing. No other staff group had that sort of level of priority. We had the stuff in the coalition agreement, we had the stuff around the NMC third-part review, all that kind of stuff. And if you look at this document, when you get it electronically, there's links to all the different documents that it references. So if you're really desperate and want to read the whole operating framework, for example, click on that, it'll take you through it and you can read the whole thing. So hopefully that'll get you up to speed if you're not fully aware. Now, one of the things that I find really interesting is this sort of thing of why do health visitors deserve this expansion? And to just give you a bit of an example, the NMC last year, in one of their, their communications with members, said, health visiting has emerged somewhat unexpectedly as one of the UK government's top 10 priorities. Now, I was really, really surprised to hear that the NMC was surprised, because actually, if you looked at the stuff before the election, it was extremely pro-health visiting. You had no political party that said, get rid of them, and you actually had all the political parties saying, we want a few more. The Conservatives were probably they were the most strong in terms of that, and pushing that message that they wanted to see a definite number more. And what I would say is it's actually still worth reading their original policy paper that they did just before the election. I think it was 2009, Helping New Families. And it goes into great detail about why they got the 4,200 figure, what's interesting about it. Again, when you get this slide pack, if you click on that image, it'll take you through to the document. So you don't need to scribble that down if you want to save your hand. But it was really, really interesting, and it certainly sort of spoke about the support to people through the early years. I think the thing that's really interesting, though, is that when you sort of compare, in terms of, why do health visitors deserve this? I don't know if people have seen this before. We used this chart when we were arguing with the last government that they actually needed to see a dramatic increase in the number of health visitors. And what you see there is the rates of the percentage change in staff groups. You probably can't read each individual one, but if you look at the one that's shooting down, that's health visiting, compared with the ones that are going up in terms of registered midwife, qualified nursing, midwifery and health visiting as a whole, medical and dental consultants. Surprise, surprise, that's the one that was shooting off the graph. And also, live births were increasing at a rate. Now, I think this graph is really, really helpful, because when commissioners ask, when members of the public ask, when managers ask, why do health visitors deserve this? This is one of the reasons why they deserve it, because there's been years where the numbers have fallen dramatically. And actually, even with just 4,200, we're going to see that red line change. So actually, we'll still be on a par with the growth in terms of live births. And I think that's a really important message. Again, like I said, this was something that we put out quite a while ago and changed more recently with that red line on it. But it is great, because what we also have now is a government that recognises that. So they've, the government in their 1-year review of the health visiting implementation plan has used this chart and actually shown, yes, we do need these increases. We do need to look at the attrition rates from people going through, to retirement or changing job, and really seem to have got that message and got it right in this case, and that's really positive. It is difficult, though, because there's quite a few people out there that are trying to undermine that message at the moment. And whether they're doing it for fair means or foul, is sort of an interpretation. But it does make it even more important that we really keep that pressure and that message going about why health visiting is so unbelievably important and absolutely amazing and will change children's outcomes into the future. Now, I think it's always easy to imagine, what happened since 2010. Or what happened since 1997. But actually, how did we get here? How did we get to 2012 with the implementation plan? And I hope most of you know that 2012 is actually the 150-year anniversary of health visiting. It started in 1862 in Salford in Greater Manchester, the lady sanitary inspectors. And actually, it is so important that we look at that progression and that sort of transfer as the way the profession's changed. I always find it so interesting when people say health visiting needs to change, it needs to sort of develop and change. But actually, it's developed and changed since 1862, and I spent a few hours a couple of weeks ago in the Wellcome Institute in London, where the CPHVA archives kept looking at journals from 1930s and stuff like that, and actually looking at the messages that were coming out there. And it's so interesting to see that change. What I would say is that over the next few months we'll be producing more information about the 150-year anniversary in the journal, and hopefully also running some events that people can be involved in. So do keep an eye on that and do try and get involved with it. This is a piece of work that I'm working on at the moment, and you definitely won't be able to see the fine detail to this, but again, it will be available. This is very much looking in finer detail about the changes over the last 150 years. So I would encourage people to sort of have a look and you know, see where it's come from if you're not already aware. Now, I hope that's been sort of a good introduction. It's had a few interesting points. Maybe you've learned something already. If not, apologise now. But, you know, hopefully it's a good start for the day. Like I say, we're starting looking at the national, going to regional, going more local, and then obviously this afternoon we've got some sessions that hopefully really give you time to learn. Like I say, I really hope you enjoy the day. You know, if you do want to ask any questions throughout, do come and bother us and, you know, make sure you get what you need out of today that you want. But obviously enjoy it, and I'm now going to pass over to Pauline to do the Department of Health bit. Thank you.